All right, scrap yourselves in because we're diving deep into some juicy Warhammer 40K conspiracy theories today.
Buckle up.
We're cracking open Warhammer 40K, Teorías Conspirativas y Secretos Ocultos. That translates to Conspiracy Theories and Hidden Secrets. It's a book jam-packed with fan theories that spin this universe in some seriously wild directions.
Yeah, and you know what? In a setting as massive and mysterious as Warhammer 40K, it almost makes you wonder how much is hidden beneath the surface.
Right, like what really went down. Okay, so we're not just skimming the surface here. This is a deep dive.
We're going full immersion. This is for fans who love to explore the what-ifs, the dark possibilities that the official lore might only hint at.
Exactly. And let's be real, the grimdark setting of Warhammer 40K makes even the craziest ideas feel kind of plausible.
Oh, absolutely. That's what makes it so much fun to speculate. Like, take the Emperor of Mankind, for example.
Oh, here we go.
He's worshipped as this godlike savior, the shining beacon of humanity, right? But what if there's more to the story? What if he's not as benevolent as everyone thinks?
Okay, lay it on me. What's the theory?
Well, the book suggests he might be a master manipulator, someone with a hidden agenda pulling the strings from behind the scenes.
Whoa, hold on. That's a huge claim. I mean, the Emperor is basically the Imperium, right? But what evidence is there to back that up?
Well, think about the Great Crusade. On the surface, it was all about uniting humanity, ending the Age of Strife, and bringing everyone under one banner.
Right.
But when you look a little closer, some of the Emperor's actions, they start to look a little more calculated, a little less selfless.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, for one, some argue that the Emperor's methods were brutal, to say the least. Millions died in his conquest. Was it truly necessary? Or was it a power grab, disguised as unification?
So maybe instead of a selfless unifier, we're actually looking at a cunning strategist, someone willing to sacrifice countless lives to achieve his goals.
Exactly. It makes you question everything about the Imperium, doesn't it? Is it built on genuine unity or on a web of control and manipulation?
It's a chilling thought. And, the book goes even further.
Oh, yeah.
It suggests that the Emperor's ultimate goal might be achieving immortality, no matter the cost.
Whoa, if that's true, it changes everything. Suddenly, the Imperium, humanity itself, they're all just tools in his grand scheme.
It really paints a different picture of him. Not a selfless savior, but someone driven by personal ambition, maybe even fear of his own mortality.
Right, and think about it, his sacrifice on the Golden Throne. What if that was just another calculated move to prolong his existence?
Man, that's heavy stuff. And knowing how deeply the warp is connected to things like psychic power, even immortality, it makes you wonder.
Right, yeah, the warp is key here. It's a reflection of the galaxy's emotions, a source of immense power, but also danger. And the Emperor, well, he had psychic abilities like no one else.
Yeah, off the charts.
Right, so could that be a sign that he had a deeper connection to the warp than anyone realized? Maybe even drew power from it in the past.
Okay, get ready because this next theory is where things go from crazy to mind-blowing.
Hit me with it.
This book suggests, and I'm just laying it out here, that the Emperor might have once been a chaos god.
Whoa, okay, hold on, let me process that. That's a bold claim, but I'm listening.
Right. I know it sounds wild, but hear me out. We know that the chaos gods embody abstract concepts, right? Like Khorne is war, Nurgle is decay, Slaanesh is, well, Slaanesh.
Pleasure, excess, all that, yeah.
Right. So what if, just what if, the Emperor embodied the concept too? Something like the human spirit or imperial destiny.
That's actually kind of brilliant. I mean, it's totally out there, but it would explain a lot. His power, his ability to inspire such loyalty, his sheer presence that seems to bend reality itself.
Right.
It all points to something more than human.
So if this theory is even remotely true, we're talking about a being who ascended to godhood, broke away from the influence of chaos, and then built the Imperium.
Now the question is why? Did he do it to save humanity? Or is there a darker motive at play? Like maybe he's not trying to suppress his past. Maybe it's all part of some grand millennia-spanning plan.
Man, that's a thought. It's like the Emperor, symbol of order, fighter against chaos, was once part of the very thing he opposes.
Yeah, that's enough to make your head spin.
Okay, let's shift gears for a second and talk about the chaos gods themselves.
All right, bring on the warp-spawn nightmares.
They represent pure, unadulterated evil. At least that's what we're led to believe. But this book, it throws a curveball. What if they weren't always like that?
Interesting. What are they suggesting?
Imagine a time when the warp was harmonious, reflecting the positive emotions of the galaxy.
A golden age of the warp. Kind of hard to picture, to be honest.
I know, right? But stick with me. What if the chaos gods were once benevolent entities, corrupted over time by the growing tide of negativity?
So instead of being born from darkness, they were twisted by it. That's actually kind of sad, even for a setting as grim as Warhammer 40K.
Yeah, it adds a whole new layer of tragedy to the story.
And it reframes our understanding of chaos completely. It's not just an external force of evil anymore, it's a reflection of the galaxy's own darkness.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? If the warp can be influenced by emotions, could it ever be restored to that former harmony? Or is the galaxy doomed to this cycle of negativity forever?
Now that's a question for the ages.
All right, we've been talking about some pretty mind-bending stuff. The Emperor, chaos, the whole shebang.
Yeah, deep into the warp-infested rabbit hole.
Exactly. But there's another terrifying force in the Warhammer 40K universe we can't ignore.
Let me guess. Tyranids.
Bingo. That relentless, all-consuming swarm of bioengineered nightmares. They're a whole other level of scary.
Yeah, the Tyranids, they're like a force of nature. They just devour and reproduce, driven by this insatiable hunger that spans galaxies.
Kind of hard to wrap your head around, right?
Oh, absolutely. And their origins still shrouded in mystery.
Which, of course, makes them prime territory for conspiracy theories.
Hit me.
This book proposes a pretty chilling possibility.
Go on.
What if the Tyranids were actually created as a weapon?
As a weapon. By who?
By the old ones.
The old ones. Now that's a thought. They were masters of bioengineering, capable of manipulating life on a scale that just dwarfs anything we can imagine.
Yeah, they were basically playing God with DNA.
Exactly. So the theory goes that they created the Tyranids to fight another powerful race. Maybe even a threat from outside the galaxy. Who knows?
It's like a cosmic horror movie waiting to happen.
Right, and we've seen it time and again in Warhammer 40K. Even the best laid plans can go horribly wrong.
Oh, yeah.
What if the Tyranids became too powerful, turned on their creators, and became the existential threat they are today?
The ultimate backfire, right? The old ones tried to safeguard the galaxy and ended up unleashing a force that could devour it.
It's a classic tale of hubris, unintended consequences, the whole shebang.
And it makes you wonder, if the Tyranids were meant to be a weapon, what were they supposed to be used against? What could possibly be so terrifying that it would require unleashing something like that?
Yeah, that's a thought to keep you up at night. But how about we shift gears for a second, talk about a faction that offers a glimmer of hope in this grimdark universe.
Sure, let's lighten the mood a little.
The Tau. With their emphasis on diplomacy, technology, they're kind of like a breath of fresh air, you know?
They definitely stand out from the crowd, all about unity and advancement.
Right. But there's a theory that suggests their connection to humanity might be deeper than anyone realizes.
Okay, this sounds interesting.
What if the Tau are actually descendants of humans?
Whoa, hold on. Human descendants.
Separated from Earth eons ago, maybe even during the Age of Strife, who knows? It's based on some physical similarities, some shared potential between humans and Tau.
It's a pretty wild idea. But if it's true, it adds a whole new layer of complexity to the Emperor's war against them, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Think about it. If the Tau are revealed to be humanity's long-lost cousins, it completely undermines the whole humanity united under the Emperor narrative.
Yeah, it throws a wrench in the whole system.
Right. What happens to the Imperium's claim to be the sole protectors of mankind?
It's a huge blow to the Emperor's authority, potentially a catalyst for some serious rebellion.
Yeah, the very foundation of his power crumbles if it turns out he's been waging war against humanity's own descendants.
Yikes. That's a lot to unpack.
It is, and just imagine the propaganda war that would erupt. It would be a galactic mess.
We've talked about the Emperor, chaos, the Tyranids, the Tau.
A real whirlwind tour of the galaxy's greatest threats.
Exactly. But now let's dive into one of the most secretive, enigmatic factions in the Warhammer 40K universe.
Ooh, who are we talking about?
The Dark Angels. These guys are more than just Space Marines. They're haunted by a dark secret, something from their past that drives their every action.
Oh yeah, the Dark Angels. They're notorious for their secrecy and their obsession with hunting down the fallen.
Exactly. Most chapters see hunting down traitor Marines as a duty, right? But the Dark Angels take it to a whole other level.
It's like a fanaticism with them, always lurking in the shadows, searching for their fallen brethren.
And that's where this next theory comes in. What if they're not just hunting down traitors? What if they're trying to silence them?
Silence them? What do you mean?
Like, what if the Fallen knows something, a secret so devastating that it could shatter the Dark Angel's reputation, maybe even threaten the Imperium itself?
That's a pretty dark thought. Turns their whole quest for redemption into a desperate cover-up.
Right. What could the Fallen possibly know that's so dangerous? What skeletons are hiding in the Dark Angel's closet?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's fueled endless speculation among fans. Some believe the Fallen know the truth about the Dark Angel's Primarch, Lionel Johnson.
The Lion. Yeah, he's a whole other mystery.
Exactly. Or maybe they know a dark secret about the Emperor himself. No one knows for sure, but it's definitely a juicy theory.
It adds a whole new layer of intrigue to the Dark Angels, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. They're already one of the most mysterious factions out there, and this just takes it up a notch.
Speaking of mysterious, let's move on to another faction that sends chills down my spine. The Necrons. They're ancient, technologically advanced, and have a serious case of superiority complex.
Oh yeah, the Necrons. Don't forget the whole undying robot skeletons thing. They're pretty creepy.
Right. They slumbered for millions of years, waiting for the right moment to reclaim their dominance.
Talk about holding a grudge.
But here's a thought. What if their return is just the tip of the iceberg?
Go on, I'm intrigued.
What if they've been secretly influencing events from the shadows all along?
Ooh, like puppet masters?
Exactly. While everyone else is fighting over scraps, the Necrons are playing the long game, manipulating events to suit their own inscrutable goals.
It's like they see the galaxy as a giant chessboard and they're the grandmasters, moving pieces into position.
That's a pretty chilling thought, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's like all the bloodshed and chaos in the Warhammer 40K universe could be playing right into the hands of these ancient, unfeeling beings.
It's enough to make you paranoid, for sure.
Yeah, and in this universe, a little paranoia is probably a good thing.
All right, we've talked about factions with hidden agendas, puppet masters, pulling strings from the shadows, but what if the very fabric of the Warhammer 40K universe is built on a lie?
Whoa, okay, that's a big one. What are you thinking?
What if chaos itself, the source of all corruption and evil, wasn't a natural force? What if it was an experiment gone wrong?
An experiment? That's an interesting idea. Who would be conducting such an experiment?
The old ones, of course, with their mastery of bioengineering and their understanding of the warp. Imagine them trying to harness its power.
To create new life, achieve a higher level of existence.
Exactly. But what if one of those experiments backfired, unleashing chaos into the galaxy and corrupting everything it touched?
So instead of being some eternal force of darkness, chaos is actually a cosmic accident.
Like a wound in reality that just keeps festering and spreading.
Man, that's a heavy thought. All the suffering, the bloodshed, the horrors of this universe, all because of a colossal mistake.
And it makes you think about responsibilities, right? If the old ones unleashed chaos, are they to blame for the state of the galaxy?
That's a tough question, a moral dilemma with no easy answers. But it definitely highlights the fragility of existence in this universe, right? Even the most advanced civilizations can make mistakes with catastrophic consequences.
Mistakes that can echo for millennia, shaping the fate of entire galaxies.
That's a sobering thought.
All right, let's move on to another faction that's always fascinated me, the orcs. They seem like this chaotic force of nature, but I think there's more to them than meets the eye.
The orcs, yeah, they're definitely a unique bunch. All that green skin, the obsession with fighting, and those weird contractions that somehow work even though they shouldn't.
Right. It's like their technology operates on a completely different set of rules.
It's like they're bending reality with sheer willpower.
Exactly. And that's where this next theory comes in. What if the orcs aren't just mindless brutes? What if they're the remnants of a once great civilization?
Ooh, a fallen empire of orcs. That's an interesting twist.
A civilization whose understanding of technology and the warp was so advanced that they could make things work just by believing hard enough?
Like reality warping on a massive scale.
Right. But something happened. They lost their knowledge, fell from grace, and became the violent, war-obsessed creatures we see today.
It's a tragic story, but I would explain a lot. Their crude technology that somehow functions despite all logic, their strange connection to the warp, it all points to a deeper potential that's been lost.
Or maybe suppressed. What if their downfall wasn't an accident?
You're thinking sabotage.
What if some other power feared their might and took steps to knock them down a peg?
Ooh, that's a good one. A conspiracy within a conspiracy.
It's a lot to think about. But the possibility that the orcs were once a powerful, advanced civilization, it adds a whole new dimension to their story.
Definitely makes them more than just comic relief.
And it makes their current state all the more unsettling.
Why's that?
Because what if they ever regain that lost knowledge, tap back into that raw power, they could become an unstoppable force.
Yeah, the orcs are a wild card in the Warhammer 40K universe, a force of chaos, but also a force of potential.
And their fate, like the fate of the galaxy itself, hangs precariously in the balance.
That's for sure. All right, what other mind-blowing theories are we diving into today?
Man, we've really journeyed through some dark corners of the Warhammer 40K universe today.
Yeah, uncovered some seriously wild theories, makes you question everything you thought you knew.
It's amazing how much depth there is to this universe. Like an iceberg, we've only scratched the surface.
And who knows what else is lurking down there in those dark depths.
But speaking of dark, we've talked about all these different factions, but there's one power that looms over them all.
Oh yeah, who are we talking about?
The Inquisition. Tasked with protecting humanity from heresy and Xenos threats, they operate with practically unlimited authority.
Yeah, the Inquisition, they're like the ultimate authority judge, jury, and executioner all rolled into one.
Right. But what if their methods have become more of a problem than the threats they're supposed to be fighting?
Ooh, that's a dangerous thought, but I'm listening.
This book suggests that the Inquisition, in their pursuit of purity and order, has become a force of oppression.
Oppression? You mean they're not actually protecting humanity?
Well, they are in a way, but the book argues that they're more concerned with maintaining their own power than the well-being of the people.
So they've become the very thing they're supposed to be fighting against.
Exactly. Think about it. They have the power to judge entire worlds, to condemn billions to death in the name of rooting out heresy.
Yeah, that's some serious power.
But what if their judgment is clouded? What if they're actively creating the very threats they claim to be fighting just to justify their own existence?
Now that's a scary thought, like a self-fulfilling prophecy, creating their own enemies to keep themselves in power.
It's a classic case of who watches the watchman. Take it to a terrifying extreme.
Yeah, and in the Warhammer 40K universe, that's a question with some seriously dark implications.
If the Inquisition is the enemy within, then humanity's greatest threat might not be chaos or aliens. It might be those who claim to be its protectors.
Yeah, that's heavy. And speaking of heavy topics, remember that theory we touched on earlier, the one about the Emperor possibly being in league with chaos?
Oh yeah, how could I forget that one? It's like the ultimate betrayal.
Right, the Emperor, the figurehead of the Imperium, the symbol of hope against the darkness. If he's secretly working with chaos, it throws everything into question.
The Imperium, the sacrifices made in his name, it all becomes meaningless if he's a servant of the very force he's supposed to be fighting.
It would shatter the Imperium from within, leave humanity vulnerable to the very forces they've been desperately trying to hold back.
It doesn't get much worse than that, but it makes you wonder why. Why would he do it? What could possibly be his motivation?
Some theories suggest he's trying to control chaos, harness its power for his own purposes.
Like maybe he thinks he can reshape the galaxy according to his own vision?
Exactly, impose a new order that transcends the limitations of mortal comprehension.
Others say he might be trying to merge with chaos, become a godlike being beyond good and evil.
The ultimate power move, but at the cost of his humanity.
And then there's the most disturbing possibility of all, that he's trying to destroy chaos from within.
Wow, by becoming one with it, that's a risky gamble.
A gamble with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance.
It really highlights the desperation of the situation, the length people will go to in the face of unimaginable threats.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, from the Emperor's true motives to the origins of chaos, we've really gone down the rabbit hole.
But I think the one thing we can all agree on is this. The Warhammer 40K universe is a place where nothing is certain.
It's a universe of constant struggle, of hidden agendas, and of unimaginable power.
Where the line between hope and despair is razor thin, and the fate of humanity is constantly hanging in the balance.
And that, in a way, is what makes it so compelling.
It forces us to question everything, to explore the shadows, and to never underestimate the power of secrets and hidden agendas.
Because in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, the truth is often stranger and far more terrifying than fiction.
So keep those theories in mind, question everything, and never stop exploring the depths of this amazing universe.
Until next time.